Alright, so Justin Long here with JTech, Fancy Uniform Cruiser. Today we're going to be looking at hydraulic cylinders, basic components, what you need to look for if you're inspecting them, noticing damage, say marring, scarring, all that good stuff, to make sure that you don't put on something that's just going to break or become catastrophic and possibly kill someone later on down the road. I already broke the cylinder down, but basic components, you have your end caps. This is the bottom of the cylinder, has the attachment point, and this one particularly would have a pin that goes through it so it can actually swivel up and down. When you're looking at the end caps, you want to make sure that the sealing O-ring that actually keeps fluid from seeping into the threads and coming out the bottom, you want to make sure that's in good condition. This is obviously in good condition. You want to check the threads to make sure that none of them are messed up or starting to split off or become cross-threaded because somebody didn't want to have patience to screw them the right way. You want to do that for both. This is the top end cap. You want to make sure, normally there would be another O-ring that sits in this groove, which obviously this cylinder is older, so it's dirty. So you have this primary seal right here with a backing ring. And you want to make sure that these threads are also not damaged in any way, shape, or form. If you go to the top end, in this groove right here would normally be a wiper seal. Obviously this one doesn't have it. And then you have your rod seal, which is inside of it. The wiper seal wipes the rod off before any sort of environmental particulate, sand, dirt, whatever you're working in, can make it to the actual rod seal. And so the wiper seal protects the rod seal. The rod seal is actually what seals the cylinder and maintains pressure no matter what you're doing. Moving on to the cylinder itself, you want to look down the board to make sure that there's no scarring, no pitting, basically any damage. Any damage at all really could become problematic and you'll end up eating through seals. Which this one actually doesn't look too bad for what it is. You also want to check the outside, make sure there's no extreme dents. This one obviously has a little bit of damage right here, but not too bad. Then you have you have the rod right here, which is what actuates in and out. And then you have the piston, which is what the fluid pushes against to actually actuate the rod. In the center here, this would be, I've never seen the center seal before, but I'd say that it's just a secondary support. But on either side, you would have an O-ring and two plastic backing spacers to keep the O-ring separated. One at the bottom, so that way when you're actuating the rod out, it would keep the fluid from moving into the top end. And then one at the top, so when the rod is moving or retracting back in, you would have another one keeping it protected on this side. So installation, pretty self-explanatory. Obviously you would replace everything. It's cheaper to replace it than to try to reuse it and have it go bad in half the time. It's too cheap not to replace, so to speak. So obviously you just stick the rod in. When looking at the rod, you want to make sure that this also doesn't have any marks or anything. A little bit of dirt's not okay, but it'll show you what condition it's been in and what has failed. You want to make sure you clean these really well because any dirt in the system will destroy the seals. Absolutely, without a doubt, will destroy the seals. And then you want to also look for pitting, corrosion, marks, any sort of abrasive textures that will destroy the seals, that will cause problems in the long run. Well, actually, in a very short period of time. Installation, obviously, set it back in. You want to make sure that the clearances are correct between the cylinder itself and the rod diameter. Just take the end cap. Obviously, this has a lot of threads, so I'm not going to screw it all the way back in. Turn it over. Same for the bottom, and you want to adhere to all manufacturer specifications when it comes to torquing down both of these end caps, so that way you don't have any chance of failure. You have fittings, obviously, you have the 90s, you have straight, you have size up, size down, but be cautious when using the different size fittings because you use the wrong size fitting, you end up changing the pressures and changing what the actual workload is for the cylinder, for the hydraulic system as a whole. This particular cylinder is a double actuated cylinder. So if you'll notice, it has a hole at the bottom and a hole at the top, which means essentially you can power the cylinder out and power the cylinder back down. So it's a very controlled cylinder. So say on a vehicle lift, so to speak, if you had cylinders that were raising it up and down, you could control how fast it goes up and how fast it goes down without necessarily relying on gravity. That's pretty much it for hydraulic cylinders.